In the wake of the cuts made to appease moderates on the Build Back Better plan, there's one community that will be disproportionately impacted by the provisions that have been dropped, and that is the Latino community. When it comes to paid leave, 73% of Latino adults are either ineligible or simply cannot afford to take unpaid leave, according to data shared by the White House. That's compared to 60% of white adults. The White House also noted Hispanic workers are the least likely to be able to take paid leave among other ethnic groups. The spending plan also contains a dramatically pared down version of its plan to address the climate crisis, which millions of Latino communities are in the front lines of. Latino Americans are overrepresented in industries that render them vulnerable to climate change and are more likely to live near large polluters. Recall this summer, the Pacific Northwest deadly heat wave took an outsized toll on undocumented farm workers. The trimmed down version of the bill also has an impact on educational opportunities for Latinos. More than half of Latino undergraduate students attend community college, but Biden's plan for free community college was abandoned during negotiations. In addition, the plan forces many Hispanic-serving colleges to compete for funding with HBCUs. On immigration, Democrats' Hail Mary attempt at crafting a pathway to citizenship for millions of undocumented immigrants in the deal looks likely, or maybe I should say unlikely, to succeed since the Senate parliamentarians shot down their first two pitches. Joining me now to discuss is Maria Hinojosa, president and founder of Futuro Media. Did I say all that right? I think I said all that right. Maria, thank you so much for being here.
Hinojosa, almost, but we're family, so it's okay.
There we go. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. You have to coach me on my accent. So, I mean, talk to us about the cuts that we see so far. We haven't seen the language of the bill. People have not been able to do the analysis of it, but the things that we know already that have either been dramatically shrank or cut completely from the deal disproportionately affect Hispanics in a way even more than it does Black people.
Right. So you have to understand that when we're talking about the big picture, you're thinking about the fact that more Latinos and Latinas came out and voted for this president, this administration, than ever before in terms of a Democratic ticket. And now what the message is what you've been saying since the top of your show, right? Which is everything is being cut, essentially to satisfy two, it's hard to call them Democrats, but okay, Manchin and Sinema, who represent parts of the country that are holding on as tight as they can to the old guard of essentially white supremacy. And so when we talk about specifics, Charles, I'm just going to throw this out because this is a piece of data that I basically have to repeat like on a daily over and over again because people don't necessarily get this. But in the last census, and we understand that Latinos and Latinas probably participated at a lesser level, right? But still, we represented half of the total population growth of the United States of America from the last decade. So that means we are representing so much growth. We are everywhere in the United States of America. And so when these cuts are happening and they are falling on the backs of people who are, we know, were essential, right? So of course it's going to fall on their backs. The problem and the reason why it falls on the backs more of Latinos and Latinas has to do with historical, structural poverty, the fact that many Latinos and Latinas are still held back in terms of immigration issues, which truncate our economic growth. And so we're kind of stuck. And so on top of the things that were in the bill that are being cut, like I keep on thinking about community college because it's just so clear. That doesn't just impact those Latino and Latina students, Charles. It affects the entire American economy because we are such a population force in this country. So it is specific to talk about how it's going to impact workers that are clearly essential, But the bigger issue is that it really has an impact on the greater United States. It slows our growth. And what do we want? An economy that and a country that is stagnant, or an economy and country that is growing?
Do you believe that Biden is at risk of falling into the kind of Obama problem, which was they promised we're going to deal with comprehensive immigration as soon as we get into office, right? And that just didn't happen. For whatever reasons, part of Obama's first years in office, he was dealing with trying to get Obamacare passed. It sucked up all the energy in the room, and by the time they got it passed, there was a giant backlash in the midterms, and then they lost their control of the Senate, and then they couldn't do anything about it. But there was a bitterness in the Latino community because he had said he was going to do this. It didn't get done, and then the Obama administration had issues at the border where they kept deporting a lot of people, and they started to call Obama the deporter in chief. Biden has a similar situation happening where he has promised that he was going to move on comprehensive immigration reform. He's not able to deliver on that, and we still have, again, a real issue at the border, and people are being sent back. I mean, we just saw what happened to the Haitians who showed up at the border. They were deported, almost immediately. So, is Biden at risk of turning off substantial portions of the Hispanic community because he lets them down in the promises that he made?
It's already happening, Charles. It's the thing that is upsetting to me because you have an electorate. So Latinos and Latinas are the second largest voting bloc in the United States of America, right? We are the second largest population cohort in the United States of America. So when I'm watching what's happening, as I was prepping for this segment and I'm reading into all the different proposals in Congress and the Senate parliamentarian, and will she accept and won't she accept? She's not even elected, and she's making decisions about immigration and plan A, plan B, plan C. And it's like, I'm an educated person who's been covering immigration for years, and I'm having a hard time understanding exactly what's going on. But the bottom line is that there is confusion and frustration. There is the understanding that there is a good chance that no immigration reform in terms of congressional and Senate involvement will happen. And that you're right. It's not that he's at risk. It's that the risk is everywhere around him. And for those of us who are watching this, it's like, do you not see what is happening, Joe Biden? Do you not care? Because you are losing support precisely with Latino and Latina voters who you have to have in order to secure the midterms and your reelection. And here we are, Charles. I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, they really just don't get it. Or is it simply that what I wrote in my book, which is, well, it's just Latinos and Latinas and immigrants. Just throw them under the bus, as we have been doing since right after Ronald Reagan. He was the one who did immigration reform. And since then, Democrats and Republicans throwing immigrants, Black immigrants, indigenous immigrants, mixed race immigrants, immigrants from India, African immigrants, Black Caribbean immigrants under the bus, while saying that we are an immigrant country. We cannot have it both ways. So I am deeply worried about the entire democratic process, because Latinos and Latinas absolutely feel like, okay, great, this is it again. Okay, great. Thank you. Why did we vote for Joe Biden? He was with Barack Obama. We are still stung over that. It's not enough for an apology. It's not even enough to say that you will pay the families who have been separated at the border because of Donald Trump. That's not going to resolve this. Your question, Charles, is correct. It's that Latinos and Latinas will end up being the most impacted by what is being lost. And what happens is the entire country loses because of that.
Maria Hinojosa, thank you for joining me tonight.
Ooh, nice job. Charles Blow, good recovery, hermano.
There you go.